welcome to NextGen IT courses. Today we have day two session for cloud security, Azure basically. So hi Sanmeet sir.
Yeah, hi Sachin.
Yeah. Without wasting time, you can just give a recap for yesterday in 5 minutes, and then we can start today's session, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi everyone. Very good evening to all of you. I can see that Dinesh has joined us today.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Yeah,
Sunnit, hi. Good evening.
yeah. Good evening. Good evening. Hope you're doing well, Dinesh. So, we just talked about the basics of Entra ID, Active Directory, what's ADDS rule, what's Entra ID, how to create users, groups, just that yesterday. Okay, so we had. Let me share my screen with you. Just a moment. All right, so hope my screen is visible to all of you. So, Dinesh, we yesterday just as I said, I covered about what is Entra ID, what are the types of users we have, what are the types of identities we have, such as users, groups, devices, and applications, and how what is authentication, what is authorization, the basics, what how to create groups, what type of groups are there, all these guest identities and all these things. So that's what we discussed yesterday. And one important thing that we did discuss was this MCSB, Microsoft Cloud Security Benchmark. So Microsoft has set up a set of controls, you can say, which we call as MCSB. Now, this, as I said, stands for Microsoft Cloud Security Benchmark. It is a framework from Microsoft that provides a set of security controls and recommendations specifically aimed at improving the security of Azure workloads and multi-cloud environments. Means it's not only limited to Azure, but it can also help you to safeguard your other cloud environments as well. Now, the AZ-500 course, which prepares learners like you for the Microsoft Azure Security Engineer Associate certification, it often references this MCSB framework as a foundational benchmark for implementing and managing security best practices on Azure. Now, this MCSB, if we talk about it, it outlines controls and recommendations to guide organizations in aligning with industry standards, including CIS, PCI DSS, and NIST. Okay, so the benchmark covers domains like network security, identity management, privileged access, data protection, logging, threat detection, and many more, all of which are critical to the AZ-500 curriculum, right? So it is nothing but MCSB is a key reference point and set of basic practices or best practices within the AZ-500 Microsoft Azure Security Technologies course for achieving robust and standards aligned cloud security. That's your MCSB. Okay, and if you want to learn about more about this, AZ-500, what is this course for? Who should go with this course? So I'll quickly send you a document which I shared with other participants here yesterday.
I've gone through the recorded video actually,
Okay, okay, okay. Then I.
and yeah, I saw that, and I have only query on this topic
Hmm.
only because it's a new
Yeah.
one. So in this AZ-500s,
Hmm.
this topic we are going to cover thoroughly, like this MCSB, or it's
See,
just
yes.
uh,
See, it's just a framework. It
okay,
tells you it's like a basic guidelines by Microsoft how you can make your your infrastructure secure. Now there are other frameworks like well-architected framework. There is cloud adoption framework. Similarly, this is just a framework. So absolutely, whatever we are going to implement in this course now, like key vault or certain firewalls, NSGs, it all revolves around this particular topic only. So this is just a framework.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
it's a strategy you can call it.
got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. So that's your MCSB. You can learn more about it. As you said that you have already gone through the recording. Now today we are going to start with external ID. Now yesterday we talked about what is identity. What is an identity? any object that can authenticate itself. Now, these identities can be of multiple types. It can be users or groups, it can be devices, and it can be applications, right? Now, today we are going to talk about what's external ID. Now, what is external ID? See, external ID is basically, is like the lobby of your organization. It is a set of features that people outside your company, like partners, vendors, or customers, your company, to sign into your applications and resources using their own existing accounts, like their Gmail, their Facebook, or their own company's Microsoft account. So there are three main types of external IDs, if you ask me. One is B2B. I would write here. One is B2B. Second one we call it as B2C. Sorry, B2B direct connect. B2B direct connect. And third one we call it as customer identities, or you can call it as CIAM. Right? So let's understand this in detail. You can think of external ID as having three different doors depending on who is visiting, right? Now, first is B2B collaboration, which is the contractor door. Now, who can be a contractor? Let's say a vendor or a partner. Example, let's say a consultant from Deloitte. He's trying to access your resources. So that's a B2B collaboration. You invite them into your organization. They show up in your main employee directory, but they are labeled as a guest. They are not a member of your organization. They can use internal tools like Teams, SharePoint, or internal applications. So, what's the benefit that you get out of this? When they leave their company, their access of your stuff automatically stops. You don't have to manage their passwords. That's the number one thing. Then comes B2B direct connection, which is the shared office door. This is like when a partner company you work with very closely. So, you link your two organizations together. Their employees can join your team channels or access your resources without you even needing to create a guest account for them. Let's say if there is a company, let's say Contoso. Now, this Contoso is a parent company and it also has a child company as Fabricum. So, this can be a B2B direct connection, right? So, it's seamless, like having a shared hallway between two separate office buildings. Then comes CIAM. Here you can see customer identities. Now, who is this for? This is the customer door. Let's say people buying your products or using your public application. Example, maybe a shopper at Amazon.com, a shopper at Flipkart, or anywhere. So they sign up themselves using a local social account like Google, Facebook, Apple, phone number, email ID, anything, or their personal email. They only see the specific application they are signed up for. They have no access to your internal company files or Teams applications, right? So, what's the benefit? It's a separate branded experience. You can handle millions of customers without cluttering your employee list, right? Now, that's your external identity. So, external identity is Microsoft's way of saying stop creating new usernames and passwords for people who don't work for you. Instead, let them bring their own keys, but you still control which rooms they are allowed to enter. Right? So Microsoft External ID refers to Microsoft's platform for managing identities that are outside an organization's internal directory, now unified under the name Microsoft Entra External ID. It is designed for customer identity and access management, CIAM. Here I'll write it as customer identity and access management, right? And it helps you secure B2B collaboration, which allows the organizations to safely interact with consumers, partners, and business customers using various identity providers, again, like Microsoft accounts, Google, Facebook, and others. Now, this Entra ID, is the core cloud-based identity and access management service for employees, internal users, devices, and organizational resources. It's responsible. I'm talking about Entra ID. Entra ID is responsible for authentication, authorization, and directory services for internal staff and standard enterprise applications, right? So external ID is different, Entra ID is different. Entra ID manages the internal workforce and core organizational resources, whereas external ID manages external users. Who external users can be? Like your vendors, your suppliers, your partners, or your customers, right? That's our external ID. So in short, Entra ID is the directory for internal organization, while external ID provides identity services specifically for outside parties in both B2B collaboration and CIM scenarios. It is built as an extension of the Entra identity platform. Right? You can customize your sign-in, branding, and access policies using Microsoft Entra features and APIs. Now, if you want to learn more about it, I'll quickly share a document for this as well. Alright, so I've shared the document in the chat. Hope you are able to access this. Great. Now let's move back. Okay, so that's your external ID. Now, what is Entra ID protection? What is it? See, Entra ID protection is a security feature.
Hey Sunmi, sorry.
Hmm.
Are we going to discuss more on that external ID, or whatever you have discussed that is done?
See, in this particular module, we are going to talk about everything about Entra ID, what are the features and everything. So for this, as of now, we are just keeping it until here. Okay.
Okay.
If you want to learn more about it, I've shared a document for that. It has the videos, everything to go through that.
Okay, because I want to know like
Hmm.
how we configure that in Azure, because it's the first time I'm seeing this, that
Yeah.
we configure something for external users or vendor as well. So I just curious to know like how we configure and like where we
Yeah.
configure it. So
Hmm.
okay.
What happens is for this we need premium licenses of what do you call it, or Entra ID. So for
Oh,
that I
okay.
have to, yeah, that is the only reason. So you have to be, you have to purchase the license for this. As I said, if you go through the Entra ID plans and pricing, so there
Mhm.
will be a separate pricing for this external ID, for this ID protection, and all this. So there are different tools that are, which we have to pay for. So that's the
Okay.
reason. Yeah, that's the reason. Although I've shared the document, everything is in there. Whatever you want to explore, what's external
Mm.
ID,
Mm.
configuration, step-by-step tutorials, everything is included in that.
Okay, cool. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no worries. Now talking about Entra ID protection. See, Entra ID protection, as I said, Entra ID has multiple plans and offerings, right? Now, what is this Entra ID protection? Now, this is a security feature within Microsoft Entra ID that helps organizations automatically detect, investigate, and remediate identity-based risks in real time. So it continuously monitors user accounts and sign-ins for suspicious or risky activities using signals from across Microsoft's services and threat intelligence. See, it can detect identity risks using trillions of daily signals from diverse Microsoft platforms. What can be these risky sign-ins? Let's say, yesterday I took an example. So if a user is trying to access my website, one of my website which is hosted on Azure or somewhere, and he is trying to do this with a new laptop, a new device, means with a new IP address which is not trusted in my database, not trusted. So what is that? It automatically becomes a risky sign-in, right? Or this user, let's say, this user is entering the password wrong every time, so it can be a risky user as well. So that auto remediation, that analysis of all that, that is what ID protection helps you with. Right? It helps you with risk detection. Means Entra ID protection identifies risky behaviors such as anonymous IP address range, password spray attacks, leaked credentials, other suspicious sign-in patterns, and all that. Each sign-in is evaluated for risk and a session risk level is assessed to trigger appropriate security options. Then it also helps you in investigation and reporting. See, admins can access reports on risk detections, on risky sign-ins and risky users. Then not only that, it also helps you with automated remediation. What is automated remediation? See, it can be integrated with conditional access that lets organizations enforce policies such as requiring MFA or blocking access when a risky behavior is detected. So let's say this user was trying this new laptop, okay, and he's trying to access my website. Now, as this is a new IP address for my database, which is not trusted, what this ID protection will do, it will automatically ask him to prove his identity, means add a second step of authentication. And what is that? That can be MFA, which can be hosted using conditional access, right? That's your intra ID protection. It helps you with automatic risk remediation via conditional access or manual actions through portal/APIs. You can export all this data, all this risk data to your other, tools like Shubham discussed one tool yesterday, which is Splunk. Same in Azure, we have Sentinel, but it again, see here, requires intra ID P2 and relevant admin rules. Means you need to have, first thing is you need to purchase licenses for this, first thing, which are quite expensive. Second thing is you need to have certain admin roles associated to you. Okay, you need to be an Active Directory admin or global admin, certain rules. So risks are continuously reviewed and automated, or manual responses can be triggered based on risk levels. So Entra ID protection provides a proactive AI-driven approach to identify security, helping organizations reduce the risk of account compromise and unauthorized access through risk-based detection and automated defenses. Now, as Dinesh, you asked me for that. What do you call, for an implementation path? So what I can do alternatively is I can share a GitHub repository with you for this. Just give me a moment.
So is it like a service?
Enter ID. It's not a service. It's a separate. Yeah, you can call it. It's a different service altogether. It's a different tool. Although it
Okay,
works,
it's uh
there is a portal, you might have heard about it, Entra Admin Center. So using that Entra Admin Center, you can access this Entra ID, external ID. Okay, let me see. I don't have that license with me, but let me see if I can show you that as well. Just give me a moment. So you have to go through this entra.microsoft.com. See, this is your admin portal, your main admin portal from where you can manage every aspect of your Entra ID, your users, groups, licenses, everything. Now on Azure, on Microsoft, we don't deal with single portal. We have multiple portals, to assign permissions, licenses. Same thing we can do using Azure as well, but there are some limitations with each of these portals. Like Azure is limited to granting user permissions, giving adding users, deleting users, and all that. But this gives you a more unified view. See that? If I go to Enter ID, see ID governance, verified ID, permission management. Here you will see identity protection as well. Now see, this is your dashboard, your tenant, everything about it, intra-connect, all the important things. And here you can see ID protection as well, identity protection. So these are all the settings related to your, see, there will be conditional access here. Where is it? Certificate. This is our ID governance portal. See again, altogether a different tool. Again, you need a separate license for this, as you can see. Subscription to Microsoft ID governance. This is your PIM. This is again an enhanced feature of Entra ID P2 license. Then you have this rules and administrations, everything here, your devices, users, groups, everything is here in this portal. And these are your external identities. See that? See. From here, you can manage your external identities. For this, you need to set up external collaboration settings, as I told you. So, if you are curious to know, here, if I click on this, it will take me to this portal here. Here, you have to first set up collaboration settings. If you want to, if you want to invite external guests, first you need to you make changes to this collaboration settings. So see, there are different settings. As you can see, guest user access, guest invite settings. So if you want to make a guest user, or second thing, you want to send an invite to these guests, what do you want to do? First thing, what options you have? Guest user have the same access as members. Means these guests will have all the same access, permissions, everything as your cloud members. So you can set it up as this. Or guest users have limited access to properties and memberships of directory objects. Second option. Then you have guest invite settings. Who in the organization can invite guest users, including guests and non-admins? See, you can see that. So all these settings you can make changes. These are collaboration restrictions. See, these are evaluated when sending an invitation to determine whether the invite should be allowed or blocked. See, allow invitations to be sent to any domain. It can be, let's say, this is my domain. It can be sent to Contoso, Fabricum, any domain, or deny invitations to the specified domain. And if you'll see, I'll click on this, it will ask me what is the domain I want to restrict sending these invites. Let's say it is contoso.com. Simple, enter here and done. So that is how you can manage your collaboration settings. And after this is done, you can start inviting your external identities. Okay, you can see all the identity providers that are available here, all the API connectors, everything. So that's the portal that we were talking about.
What
Hope it
I
helps.
was thinking actually, suppose we were discussing, it will give them one ID, specific ID, and what ID they will get in which basis. Suppose in Gmail, if you are using, we will get as a client, a customer, we are getting Gmail IDs, right? If I'm using Amazon, I'm getting one specific ID, or maybe my mobile number is my ID, right? So in this scale, what kind of IDs my vendors or my clients are getting? That I was curious to know actually.
They can use any identity. They can use their Facebook credentials. They can use their Gmail, anything.
No,
That
it's
is
up to
possible.
us, right? What ID, right?
See,
So
here you can configure. Here you can configure what IDs. Google, you want to
okay.
configure, click on configure, and you can do that. So these are all the identity providers.
Correct.
If
That
built
I
in,
wanted to know actually.
absolutely. You can do custom as well. If you want to add new IDs, you can add from here. See, SAML WS Federation option is available. What is the display name? The identity provider protocol. Let's say it's SAML. Then what is the domain of that federating IDP, and what is the method of populating this IDP data? That's it.
Got
So
it. Yep.
you can choose, absolutely, right? Hope it helps.
Yep.
That's external ID. So yeah,
I'll take a couple of more minutes of yours
absolutely.
here. And then protection. Can you show me where is that protection? Like I just wanted to see. I'm just comparing it from my on-prem. If we are using threat prevention, or you were saying that it will try to give us the signature.
Yes.
Is it doing sandboxing or something? So that
Yes.
I
Right.
just wanted to see.
This is, yeah, absolutely. See, this is your dashboard, identity protection. As you can see, due to this not having this, see, these are your risky users. Every report will be visible here. What are the policies that you have created? Have you enabled MFA for users or not?
So I just suppose I'm taking this, like I'm interested to buy this, right? So I'll bought it from here. Okay, whatever license amount is I paid. Now I configure it, right? What I'm trying to understand is, suppose the threat prevention I have enabled in my firewall, one of the firewall,
You
or
have
else
created this policy.
right, or else what I'm doing is, like, I am taking separate IPS IDS device. The traffic is going from that, and it is suspecting the like monitoring that traffic accordingly. It is giving me the details, right?
Yes.
In this case, if I'm taking like trying to buy this, like I bought this service, how will, like, my all the traffic won't go from, like, where we will keep it, like, that's
See,
why I was saying, yeah.
this is the dashboard. Here you will be able to see all the okay. Due to this error, I'm not able to show you, although it will show you all the risky users. See, these different tabs are there. What were the risky sign-ins? It will tell you the exact time where it was tried to sign in, all the in terms of logs. Logs, right? Reports.
Right. So
Yeah.
that what I'm saying, my logs will land here? Like how?
Here. Here
Do
when
I need to integrate everything to this or
no. You
no?
don't have to do that. No, you just have to register a user in your Entra ID. That's it. Once that user is registered, see, you'll be able to see this in the form of this in these logs. That's it. You don't have to integrate any tool here like Sentinel or something. No, you just have to publish your application, whatever application you have hosted here, your enterprise
So
applications.
I need to keep my like
Hmm.
put or add my application here. Is that you're saying?
Yes. You
Just
have
like
to.
a WAF, just like a web
Yeah.
application firewall, I need to put. So, oh, is it?
Huh.
And then it will analyze the traffic for that particular application, and then it will give us the logs. Is that you're saying?
Not WAF exactly. See, what
Mm-hmm.
happens is in this Entra ID, you have to register everything. These
Mm-hmm.
users, right? If you talk about these users, what are these? These are you have registered users, right? You have guests, member, all these.
Mm-hmm.
Now, same for
Okay.
groups, same for devices.
Okay,
Same
I
way,
got it. So then it works for a user
yes,
basis. Like it analyze all my user traffic. Is that you're saying? Like
exactly.
whatever my users are doing, it will analyze all the traffic, and accordingly it will give me
Yes,
the details. Like your user is like
yes,
doing some
perfect.
suspicious thing or
Yes,
okay,
exactly. If
okay,
the
okay,
user
got
is,
it.
let's say, trying to log in from a location which is new to your system, which was
Uh-huh.
never used, then it will be a risky sign in. Then, let's say, if the user is trying to put in wrong credentials many times, so the
Mm-hmm.
identity protection, this particular feature will automatically see, analyze that, and remediate on that response on your behalf. It
Mm-hmm.
will
Got it.
ask him, it will throw him, please, all right, you have got the credentials, no worries, but you have to go through this MFA or answer this security question, and that is done through this portal or
Got
this
it.
feature.
So in this case, if I have integrated through on-prem, like my few
Huh.
users are from on-prem,
Huh.
so like basically it is taking
Huh.
or integrated from AD
Yeah,
or
enter ID.
okay,
Enter.
okay,
So
got
if
it.
you have, I'll answer that question as well. If you have hosted your on-prem AD, then
Mm-hmm.
absolutely you can use any Entra Connect or any Entra Cloud Sync tool. You can, migrate, or you can make your, what do you say, your identities available here as well on your Azure platform. And then
Mm-hmm.
absolutely it can work for those identities as well. No worries.
Got it, got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, clear.
So,
Thank you so much.
no worries. That's your external ID and identity protection. Now, if you want to learn more about this by step tutorial, so just go through this, and this will help you a lot. Yep. All that I've shown you, and this link will have all the tutorials, everything you need to be aware about. Okay, so now let's move back. Okay, so that's your Entra ID protection. It's not a single feature. It's not something that what do you say? We can simply create. You have to create sign-in policies. You have to create MFA. Like it will ask you. The system is it does the job automatically. No worries. It can create through MFA automatically all that. But you will have to create these policies. What MFA policy have you created? What is the second step of authentication you need? Is it security questions? What is the authentication method? All that, what do you need to do if you find a risky user or a risky sign in or a risky application? All these based on that. See, this is the step by step process. First is unique insights powered by trillion signals, whatever are there in your system. Then assess risk levels via real-time intelligence evaluation engine. Is it a risky user, sign-in, or a risky application? Then how do we secure this access via policy enforcement? See, this is important. Policy enforcement, unified investigation experience. First is auto remediation with risk-based conditional access policies. Azure portal identity protection risk. See, again, different tools working here. See, Sentinel is here. So it depends upon you. Which tool do you want to integrate? Although by itself you can create policies. You can send this to MFA or something. So that's how it works. Entra ID protection. It's whole in all a great feature that again provides a proactive AI driven approach to identity security, helping organizations reduce the risk of account compromise and unauthorized access through risk based detection and automated defense. Now, see, what does it say? Again, they are talking about here. What is Entra ID protection? Automate the detection and remediation of identity-based risks. Right? Investigate risks using data in the portal. Export risk detection data to the third-party utilities for further analysis. What do you want to do? See, this is how we create a policy. Right, if I go back, let me see if I can do that. Just give me a minute. I'm able to create a policy here. Yeah, I think I can. So I'll show you this as well. If you asked for a demonstration, so here it is. I think this feature is we can use. So see, if I go back to my intra portal, this is the intra Microsoft portal. Okay, this is the admin portal basically. So here, what you have to do is first click on, what is the assignment. Is it for all users? Then you have to choose, is it for all user, or you can select individual and group of users. So then you can select what users you're talking about. Let's say there is a user named Alex. I want to enforce MFA for Alex only. I'll choose that. I'll enable this control and I'll enable this policy enforcements and click on save. That's how you enforce policies on Microsoft what do you call intra portal, right? So that's how it's done. And see, as you can see here, same in here. First, you have to choose a policy. Do you want to apply this policy to all users or a typical user of you that you might choose? Then what is the policy name? Give it a policy name. Its condition is user risk. And what do you want to do? What is the control, which we call as access? We want to require a password change. Whenever there is a user risk, we want the user to change the password. When should this happen? Number of users impacted out of this. Okay, and see. Second step is I might require multi-factor authentication. So there are multiple policies that you can enforce. It typically depends upon you. How do you want to manage your system? Right? And with that, we have your Entra ID protection. Now, what is Entra Connect? Can you guys tell me what is Entra Connect? Do you know anything about it? Anyone here? See, now what happens is some companies have their on-premise setup, their on-premise ADDS role. Remember we talked about it. They have a Windows server on which they have hosted ADDS role, so it acts as their domain controller. Now some companies have their AD hosted on Azure, which is Entra ID. Means they are not maintaining a server, nothing. All these identities are in the cloud here, right? But some companies are there who want to migrate their users from on-prem to Azure. Means they want to completely lift and shift their on-prem identities, passwords, devices, apps, everything from their on-prem AD to your Microsoft Azure Entra ID. How you can do that? You'll ask me what are the tools available. The very first tool is Entra Connect. What is Entra Connect? It is a tool that enables synchronization and integration between on-premise Active Directory and Entra ID. It supports several integration and authentication methods for hybrid identity scenarios. So users can sign in using a consistent identity across cloud and on-premise resources. Okay. See that on-premise application for hybrid identity goals. Consider cloud managed solution Microsoft Entra Cloud Sync. So there are two things. One is there is Entra Connect, then there is Entra Cloud Sync. What is the difference between both these? Let's understand. See, first is Entra Connect. Entra Connect is basically, what happens here is, so let's say this is your on-prem AD. Okay, this is your on-prem.
Sunmit, are you we are able to see only this screen, like a Microsoft
presentation?
Yeah, presentation.
Here I'm explaining only.
Okay.
See, there are two things: Entra Connect versus Entra Cloud Sync. Let's understand each. Entra Connect, understand as the heavyweight. I'll try to keep it, easy for all of you. Heavyweight. Now, what do I mean by that? Heavyweight because this is the classic tool. It is a full software package you install on a dedicated server, on a dedicated server in your office. All the thinking, means processing and logic, everything happens on your server. So it is best for complex enterprise needs. When you need device write back, you want to sync cloud joined devices back to your local AD. It supports massive groups up to 250,000 members. It follows something called as pass-through authentication. I'll come to that. What is it? Okay. Then there is Entra Cloud Sync. Now this Entra Cloud Sync, we call it as the lightweight agent. Now why lightweight? Because this is the newer modern approach. Instead of a heavy server, you just install a tiny agent. So the thinking happens in the Microsoft cloud. Your local agent just acts as a bridge. It will be acting as a bridge. All the thinking will happen here on your Microsoft Azure portal. It is simple to set up. It helps you with the disconnected offices, mergers, acquisitions, all that. So there is no need. Why do we call it lightweight? Because there is no need for beefy dedicated servers. You can install multiple agents for high availability, right? That is why we call it what do you call lightweight. Okay, so that depends what kind of scenario we are dealing with, right? And then comes your authentication options. So there are different kind of authentication methods. First is, now hope this is clear to everyone, Connect and Cloud Sync. What is Entra Connect and what is Cloud Sync? There are two different tools for this. Just give me a quick thumbs up in the chat if this was clear to you. Okay, perfect. All right, so that's your Entra Connect versus your Entra Cloud. And for this, let me just quickly share a documentation so that you can understand in deep. Cloud. Okay, so I've shared the link for Entra Cloud Sync, and now I'll share for Entra Connect. Here. Perfect. So now let's move back to our presentation. So now there are three types of authentication methods. First is password hash. Second is pass-through authentication. Third is federation integration. Now I told you that users like organizations. Let's say if there is a organization known as Contoso. Contoso wants to migrate their identities and everything to cloud. Now you will ask me, if they move all their identities, let's say there was a user called Alex. If all the identities move to the cloud, how will these applications, let's say these are your application, there is an application that you have hosted. How will this application know how to authenticate this Alex user from on-prem ID or from your Entra ID? That answer is solved by these techniques or these features, pass-through, password hash. Let's understand. First is password hash synchronization, which we call as PHS. See, here the password hashes from the on-prem AD are securely integrated into your Entra ID. These are synchronized. All the passwords, like the passwords of Alex, these will be synchronized to Entra ID. So users authenticate directly to Entra ID using their on-prem username and password, simple, which they had on-prem, right? First technique. It enables single sign-on and is the simplest to deploy with no requirement for additional infrastructure. Hope you guys know what single sign-on. I'll tell you about that as well. Then the second type of thing is pass-through authentication. This was first, password hash. Second is pass-through. Now pass-through is where users sign into cloud resources using the same on-premise credentials, same thing, but passwords are validated on-premise and not on Entra ID. These are validated on-premise by a secret agent. So passwords are not stored in the cloud. In the second technique, they are never stored in the cloud. Okay, authentication requests are securely passed to the local domain controllers, and this is your local domain controller here. So it's useful for organizations that require real-time enforcement of on-premise security policies. Now you'll ask me, Jagmeet, what kind of users will go with this kind of authentication, pass-through authentication? Answer is simple. Some organizations are there who say that we want to keep our password to ourselves. We don't want to store them on Entra ID and something else. The answer is that they can go with pass-through authentication. Lastly, we have something called as federation integration. Now, what is federation integration? Authentication is handled by an on-premise federation service, such as this ADDS, Active Directory Federation Services. It enables more advanced scenarios like smart card, certificate authentication, or custom policies. If you want to use any of that, like you want to use a smart card or you want to use a certificate authentication, that kind of authentication policies, then you have to rely on federation integration. So it enables these scenarios, and users are redirected to the federation services for sign-in, and Entra ID trusts the authentication assertion returned by the federation server. Right? That is how these three things are there. First is password hash synchronization, PHS. Second one is pass-through authentication. Last one is federation. Right? So Entra Connect, how does Entra Connect make use of this? Entra Connect provision users and manages identity synchronization across AD and Entra ID. The authentication method, it can be PHS, it can be PTA, or it can be federation. That is chosen based on organization's requirement for certain things, for security, complexity, and available infrastructure. Right? That's your Entra Connect. Hope you all get the point. What is Entra Connect, everyone? Just give me quick thumbs ups. I can see one hand raised by Dinesh. Yes, Dinesh, you have any question?
Yes, I have question for pass-through authentication. As you mentioned, it will get authenticated by internal on-prem server or any server, right? So in that case, they can use Azure services.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, but they are getting authenticated by
Yes.
one of the on-prem,
Yes,
but
yes.
they are going to access like all the Azure services,
All that.
whatever that company has
Everything.
taken.
Everything, yes. It's just that instead of being authenticated through Entra ID, they're relying on their on-prem data center. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Another, I maybe I missed few lines about the federation integration. Where exactly we configure that actually? Is it in that this Microsoft Intra Connect or or the Cloud Sync? Like where exactly we configure that?
See, for that you have a different control which we call as console. There is a different panel, console.google.cloud.
Okay, so there we have to go
Huh.
and
Yes.
use this
Yes.
authentication feature, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Although absolutely, the tool here you are working for is only that Entra Connect. So you can do using Entra Connect. First thing, you have to use Entra Connect. Now this tool will act as a bridge between your on-premise identity infrastructure and the cloud, specifically orchestrating the relationship between ADFS and Entra ID. So tools involved here will be, first is Entra Connect. Second will be your Active Directory Federation services, where you have hosted the Windows Server role that actually performs the authentication. There will be a web app proxy, right? A second role typically installed on a perimeter network. And lastly, your Entra ID. So yeah, using your there's a console that we use for this, which we call as console. So I'll share this with you for ADFS Federation integration in Microsoft. See, here you will be able to get your answer. This.
I have one more query regarding this, both the ways through which we can migrate our users. So, as you mentioned, Entra Connect, we have to install in one of the server, right? And the another option, like Entra Cloud Sync, which it's basically an agent, right?
Yes.
Which we can use, but
Yes.
that agent where we have to install,
On your on-prem media only. On your on-prem media.
AD only.
On your on-prem media only.
Okay, got it.
It's like a tiny software package. Yes.
Okay,
right? So I have shared this, and what I'll do is I'll just share that all these what do you call authentication techniques with as well. The documents for that, so that you are not confused. So first is password hash organization. I'm sending you the steps how we can configure this as well, and what is it exactly. So this is for password hash, and then I'll share for pass through.
So all these three are available in that cloud sync as well. I
Yeah,
need.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. It's just see, IntraConnect was the old tool, which was first developed. Then they
Mhm.
come up with a new, an enhanced tool with a lightweight system that we call as Cloud Sync. That's it.
Okay.
Capabilities are same. Even it will have some more capabilities if we talk about it.
Okay.
Huh. Okay. So I've shared all the documents about IntraConnect, Cloud Sync, password through, pass hash synchronization, federation, everything in the chat. Hope you are able to see that.
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so now let's go back and yeah, that's your intraconnect. Any other questions, guys? Anyone having any questions in mind? What is intraconnect? I still don't understand. What is it? If yes, you can ask me, or otherwise you can just give me a quick thumbs up in the chat so we can move ahead. Okay, I think everyone looks good. Perfect. So that's your intraconnect. Now, what is this IntraConnect Health? Although I've shared the document for this as well in the chat, but see, IntraConnect Health is what? Once you have configured all your identities, you have hosted this IntraConnect tool. This health will basically keep a check. It will keep an eye on how your identities are being synchronized, how their passwords are being synchronized. See, it's a robust monitoring feature for on-premise identity infrastructure, ensuring reliability for accessing M365 and online services. Means once you have started the migration process, how is everything looking up? That's our intraconnect health. Okay, so what do you call implementing this intraconnect health can take hours. Okay, it is not a small process. First you have to install that server, an additional server in your on-premise system. You need to have an exact data center for this, so it is a timely process, I would say. Talking about intraconnect, this is your intra cloud sync. See that how easy it is. Intra cloud sync, what is it? Hybrid identity solution. Synchronizes users, groups, and contacts to Microsoft Entra ID. Benefits is supports multi-forest environments. Means in ADDS, not in Entra ID, I'm talking about ADDS, means on-prem AD. We have forests like we have contessa.com. So we'll have a different forest for contessa.com. We'll have a different forest for fabricum.com maybe, and similar. So you can have multiple forests, you can migrate multiple forests to your Entra ID. So it gives you simplified installation, multiple agents for high availability. If you want to make sure that your services, your identities are being synchronized perfectly without any worries, instead of installing one agent here, you can install multiple agents. That is high availability. Okay. It is different from intra-connect sync. Why? Because orchestration in online services, it's lightweight agent deployment and configuration stored in intra ID, not your on-prem ID. That's how it is different from your intra-cloud sync. Okay, there are a lot of differences. So that's your intra-cloud sync. Okay, now these are all the authentication options that we were talking about. First is password hash synchronization. Gives you minimal effort, seamless sign-in, ensures business continuity, considerations for on-premise account states, right? Then comes pass-through authentication. Again, lightweight agent deployment, gives you enhanced user experience, enforced policies, and backup authentication method is recommended here. That's pass-through authentication. Lastly, you have federated authentication. Requires external system, can be complex to set up. but gives you again flexible user experience. It is recommended for advanced scenarios. It has high investment, single identity provider is there. These are all your authentication options. Else, now see, how do you decide which authentication should you go with? See that. First question it is asking you is, do you want Entra ID to handle sign in completely in the cloud? If the answer is yes, right? If the answer is yes, then it's asking you a further question. Do you want to enforce user level Active Directory security policies during sign in? If yes, do you have a sign in requirement not natively supported by Entra ID? Again, yes. Then do you want sign in disaster recovery or leaked credential reports? If yes, then go with Federation with password hash sync. Otherwise, Federation alone can be beneficial for you. Or if the answer was no here, you don't want Entra ID to completely handle your sign in the cloud. Then do you want to integrate with an existing Federation provider? If no, do you have a sign in requirement not natively supported by Entra ID? Then see, these are the options. So this decision tree helps you understand what kind of authentication option you should choose for your scenario. Okay, you can go through this slide. I'm keeping this slide on for 2 minutes. Go through it, and then I'll move to the other slide. Okay, Ratish is saying that there is a sound problem from my side. Is there a problem from my side to anyone?
Not exactly. I have experienced that.
Okay, so
Sound is clear, but just a minor background noise is coming, but else is fine.
Okay. So he's saying now, not now, not it was before. Okay. There might be sometimes, I have another system working here with me, so I have another screen. So due to that, it has some processing the sound. It's GPU, so that might be the issue. No worries, I'll take care of it. Okay, so you can go through this slide for a minute, and then we'll move forward. And guys, if you have any questions regarding this pass-through authentication, password hash, or federation, anything you can tell me right away. Okay, so everything looks good. Let's move ahead now. See, again, they're explaining password hash synchronization in detail. Right, just give me a moment here. See, first they're talking about password hash synchronization. What is it? It simplifies sign in for hybrid identity. Now, what is hybrid identity? An identity which is present here as well. Let's say there is a user one, and an identity which is present here as well on your ID, which is again user one. Now, how does hash synchronization help you with? See, we call this password hash synchronization cloud first approach. Cloud first approach. And why do we call that? In this model, the Entra Connect tool takes a hash of your on-premise passwords and syncs them to the cloud. That's what's happening in this picture. It took your password here, the hash of your password. This is not the exact password, this is the hash. And it keeps that hash of password on your Entra ID. So authentication happens entirely within Entra ID now, and nothing goes back to your on-prem ID. So let's say, to give you a much more explained scenario, let's say a user enters their password on Microsoft login page. There is a website which is Microsoft.com. Let's understand that. Microsoft.com. Now this user one enters his credentials. Entra ID checks that password against the stored hash. This is the stored hash. If the password is correct, then absolutely you can log in. No connection to your local server is needed at the moment. Means this is completely eliminated now because the hash is stored on your Entra ID now on your cloud. It's not on your on-premises anymore. So everything happens in the cloud, right? So it is best for organizations that want the highest availability and the least amount of infrastructure to maintain, where you don't want to maintain this, AD and all that. See, benefits are improved productivity, reduced help desk costs, and leaked credential detection, right? Let's say, there is a company which is, let's say, there's Contoso.com. Now, Contoso has 500 small stores around the city. This Contoso has 500 small stores, outlets. They don't want to maintain a complex server in every store or a massive central server just for logins. What you can do? The experience is that a store manager logs into Outlook on the web, even if the store's local internet is shaky or the main office has a power outage. The manager can still log in because their identity is already in the Entra ID, is safely cached in the Microsoft cloud, right? See, it requires setup with, of course, Microsoft Entra Connect and configuration of directory synchronization. That's password hash synchronization, where your hashes are being stored on your Entra ID. So nothing goes back to your on-prem ID. Everything is happening inside your Entra ID. Now, second type of authentication, we have pass-through authentication. Now here, things are different. This we call as the direct validation approach. Now, why do we call that? In this model, passwords are never stored in the cloud. Here we were storing, see, this password was being stored in the cloud, right? But that's not the case in pass-through authentication. Instead, a lightweight agent sits on your local server and waits for login requests. See, this is your AD, right? This is the agent, pass-through authentication agent. This agent sits and waits for login requests. And when I say wait for login requests, so what am I trying to say? Let's say there is a user. A user want to sign in to access your applications. Okay, these are your applications. His request is being sent to Entra ID. When a user types their password into Microsoft login page, you know what Entra ID does here? Entra ID places that request into a secure queue. Okay, into a secure queue. Your local PTA means your local pass-through agent, this one. This picks up the request, asks your local Active Directory. See, this is the process. It asks your local AD, is this password correct? And if that password is correct, yes or no, that is sent back to the cloud. See, identity synchronization using Microsoft Entra Connect. That is your pass-through authentication. Means request is coming on Entra ID side, but it is being sent to an agent which is pass-through authentication agent, and it is being sent back to your AD, your on-premise AD. So again, who is it best for? It is best for organizations with strict security policies that forbid storing any form of password, even hashes, in the cloud, or those who need to enforce local AD policies like logon hours or something. For those scenarios, we have this pass-through authentication. See, sign into on-premises and cloud applications with the same password, improving user experience. Gives you easy deployment with a lightweight agent, no complex setup is required. Secure with conditional access, high availability, and the self-service password management. What is self-service password management? Can you guys tell me what is self-service password management? What do you think it is? This term here. Anyone? What do you
Maybe
think?
one-time password when we
Hmm.
get some request, and then we have to change it password and keep the new one which we are doing. Maybe related to that.
Okay, absolutely. It's related to that only. See, self-service means the term itself answers here. Self-service password reset. Now, if I talk about a normal AD scenario, what will happen in an on-prem AD? Let's say you forgot your password or your account gets logged out. What do you have to do? You have to reach to the administration, right? Administrator to change the password for you. Don't you think it is time consuming? Then you have to wait for the admin to do the changes, and you don't have that control of changing the password. Then you can log into your apps and other things. Instead of this, removing all that, what if I say you might have seen this forgot password button, right? Forgot password. What is that button? That button is because of Entra ID, right? Because of cloud. So that is self-service password management. Means you can manage your passwords on your own. You can change the password, you can update the password. How do you want to keep it? That's your self-service password management. And that is also possible with Entra Connect. Okay, now comes federation. What is federation integration, or which we call as ADFS? See, this is we call as the delegated authority. This is the most complex method. It hands off the entire login process to your local infrastructure. And that local infrastructure is called as this guy, ADFS. Okay. So how it works is when a user enters their email on a Microsoft page, they are immediately redirected to a login page hosted on the company's own servers. Okay. So your local server handles the login, gives the user a digital ticket, which we call as a token, and sends them back to the cloud. See this federation trust, and this is what is formed here. So it is best for large enterprises that use third-party MFA. Again, what is third-party MFA? Like smart cards, or companies which use certificate, something like that. It's best for those kind of organizations where the cloud doesn't natively support or those with highly complex sign-in requirements. Okay. If I have to give you a very good example for this, let's say there is a national defense agency. National Defense Agency. Now I'm taking a real world example here. Okay, guys. An agency is there. That agency requires every employee to plug in a physical smart card to their computer to log in. The experience is when an employee goes to https, let's say google.com, the page says redirecting you to your organization, right? It must have happened to you. So they are sent to a custom internal site, a custom page where they can scan their card. So once the local server verifies the card, the employee is magically logged into their cloud applications, right? So Federation can help you with third party authentication. Let's say you want to use your Google account, your Facebook account, Apple ID account, your personal email ID, Microsoft account, anything. That is Federation services, right? It builds the trust between domains for authentication and authorization, which is vital for shared resource access across organizations. You can federate on premises with Microsoft Entra ID for robust access control, ensuring all authentication happens locally. Entra Connect facilitates federation setup with ADFS, allowing seamless sign-in to Entra ID services without password re-entry. Any questions, guys, in any of these authentication methods that we have talked about? Anyone having any queries in password hash synchronization, pass through? If everything's good, just give me some thumbs ups in the meeting so that I know everything is looking good.
So sorry again.
No, no, no.
I want to understand this federation again, if possible.
No,
Actually, I
no,
missed
absolutely.
few lines in between.
Okay. So, see, what do you understand from federation, by the way? Like, what is your understanding on this? Just the normal. It can be wrong as well. No worries.
Uh, Same thing, like we are using certificate or few authentication ways to get a user authenticated to access our
Hmm.
services. But what I'm not able to understand, like where and how we have to do that, like how
Hmm.
we are going to like implement this and where exactly.
Okay, I'll tell you. See, first thing is there is a tool on, as I said, using Microsoft Entra portal only.
Hmm.
There is a tool such as which is known as console. So as we are talking about third-party logins here, so
Hmm.
means it depends. Although the tool is only Entra Microsoft only, the Microsoft portal that I just showed you. On that you have option of federation.
Hmm.
Now, configuring is a two-part process, as I said. First, you prepare your on-premise identity provider, which is ADFS, and then you use Microsoft Entra Connect to stitch the two worlds together, right? So as of now, you will be using an Entra Connect tool for this. So that is your configuration. Now, talking about what it is exactly, so let's understand it in a layman example. Imagine you are a citizen of a company land and you want to visit Cloud City, which is Microsoft 365. Now you arrive at the gates of Cloud City. The guard asks who you are. Show me your Cloud City ID. Right? Now you say I don't have a Cloud City ID, but I live in a company land. The guard doesn't know your password, so they say go back to your home country's office, get them to vouch for you, and bring me a signed certificate. Right? Then comes the authentication. You go back to your own government office, like which is your local ADFS. Okay, they know exactly who you are because you show them your local ID, right? Then generates a token. Here, a token is generated. Now, what is this token? Your government gives you a passport, right? That passport is a token. It's a document that says we have checked this person's ID. They are, let's say they are Dinesh, and they are allowed to enter. Then a trust is established. This federation trust. So you bring the password back to the Cloud City. The guard there doesn't need your password. They just look at the official seal on your passport because Cloud City and company land have a trust agreement the guard lets you in. That is your federation. Now, why do companies use this method? See, for sovereignty, for control. Now, company land never has to give your passwords to Cloud City. If you get fired, company land just cancels your local ID and your passport immediately becomes useless everywhere. That's first thing. Second thing is some companies have special requirements. Like maybe company land requires you to provide a fingerprint and a retina scan to get your passport. But Cloud City doesn't have the equipment for that. But by using Federation, they can benefit from that high, security. That's again a special requirement. So there are multiple options why a company goes with federation. You are giving the user a digital passport that the cloud provider recognizes and trusts. That is why we call it as federation trust. Hope now it's understood.
Yep, got it. Thank you.
Yes. Perfect. No worries. Although I've shared the documentation as well, you can go through that as well. And let me see if there is something more about this federation.
For federation, I don't think so. You have shared.
I
Uh,
have shared a document, but I'm sharing a different one where you can see the exact,
okay.
exact guide, like
Yeah,
how.
yeah, yeah. I got it for federation as well. Sorry.
Yeah, I've shared it, but I'm sharing, additional documents to help you with that. Yeah, this link can help you. What it is, how to connect with Federation, everything will be here. There are multiple tutorials, step-by-step guides, and in here, yes. Here, this document will also help you a lot. So yeah, I'm sharing two important documents. First is what is federation, everything about it, all the important links in that document. Second link is how to connect this federation management. So that as well, because there are multiple tools involved here in this case. So I'm sharing that as well here with you.
Cool.
See,
Correct.
it gives you proper screenshots of how do we have an on-prem AD, then how do we install that connect tool and everything. So yeah, I'm sharing that.
Correct. Thank you.
Great. And everyone, please make sure that you are making a bookmark of all these important links somewhere. Okay, because this chat is a temporary one, so you might lose the chat afterwards after this session ends. So please make a note of all these links that I've shared with you in the chat. Okay, so that is the last authentication option, and then you have Microsoft Entra authentication. Now, what is Entra authentication? Simple. When you're using Microsoft Entra ID, so there are different options. Microsoft Entra ID enhances security through MFA, passwordless sign-in, and self-service password reset. Okay, see, this is self-service password reset. It gives you hybrid integration that ensures password changes and protection policies are applied both on premises and in the cloud. It aims to reduce help desk calls and improve user experience by enabling users to manage their credentials independently. See, this is what I was talking about. Means users don't have to bother admins anymore. They can manage their credentials by themselves, their username, their password, changing the username, changing the password, anything. They can manage everything on their own. And that is done through Microsoft Entra authentication. That is there, right? So that's your Entra authentication. Now, one thing we discussed about is single sign-on. Now, can you guys tell me what is single sign-on? Anyone? You can answer it in the chat maybe if you're not comfortable.
Uh, Single sign-on, basically, we don't need to log in again and again for
Hmm.
all other devices. If we
Hmm.
have login to our office laptop through
Hmm.
whatever credentials,
Hmm.
it will redirect, or it don't ask for our
Hmm.
password again and again. Like
Yes.
single password or single credentials for all the devices anyway.
Yes, perfect. It is basically having single set of credentials for all your applications. Let's say your company has multiple portals: HR portal, finance portal, attendance portal, payroll portal, anything. You don't need to have independent username and password for all these portals. You will have a single username and password that is done using all these authentication options that we talked about earlier. All these options, single sign-on. That is your single sign-on. Means having a single set of credentials to access all your applications. Now, what is MFA? MFA is again a very simple. Let's say a user signs into your application. So what he has to put inside first is username and a password. That's the first step of authentication. This is the first step. But your Enter ID says never trust a user based on a single step of authentication. Always make a second step of authentication as well. Means maybe sending an OTP to his mobile number, or sending a code via email, or maybe asking him some security question, or let's say asking him to authenticate himself using Authenticator app, Microsoft Authenticator application. What is that? These all are second step of authentication, means a multi-factor authentication, or which we call as two-step verification. So for this, first you need to create a conditional access policy, right? If I head back to the portal here, just give me a second. See here, if I go to conditional access, See, these are the conditions, right? And here you can create new policies. So these are all your where you can see your policies, right? So you can create your policies on your own, and then you can enforce MFA, see, multi-factor authentication. Enhance the security and convenience of your data and applications. MFA reduces organizational risk and helps enable regulatory compliance by providing an extra layer of authentication. See, you can use this MFA for this. So it's nothing but a second step of verification. That's your MFA. Okay, perfect. Now, so I guess we can, conclude the class with that only for today. Any questions for now? Anything you have from what we have discussed today only? Anyone having any questions? How was the class to all of you?
Yeah, it was good, Sunmeet. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Dinesh, for the input. All right, guys. Any questions? If you have any questions, I'm opening this window for you. You can ask me any questions you have from today's or maybe from yesterday's. It was awesome. Thank you, Vivek, for that feedback. Thank you so much. All right. So I guess there are no questions. Then let's conclude this today's class and let's connect tomorrow, guys, on the same time.
Yep,
Yes, sir.
sure.
Tomorrow we'll
Okay.
connect.
Okay.
Thank you,
Perfect.
guys. Thank you, Sanmeet, sir.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thanks everyone for joining.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.